In 2010, TRADOC had a total of 282 heat injuries incident, which was a 68 increase compared to the previous year in 2009. It's a significant lesson for the past year that was early recognition of the treatment of soldiers showing signs of heat injury would prevent the injury from becoming a casualty. When a soldier displays the signs of heat injury, the immediate action to lower the soldier's body temperature ultimately can be the difference between the soldier returning back to duty or even dying. Leaders must use composite risk management, which is CRM, to identify and to mitigate the hazards associated with the training and high temperature environment. Hi, my name is Sergeant First Class Williams, and today we will discuss conducting risk assessments to identify hazards during high temperatures, to develop controls to assess the hazard of heat injuries, as well as implementing controls by supervising and continuing to evaluate the casualty. Why do you think heat injuries are so prevalent in the military today? So, why?
Because of the activities that we perform all the time.
Okay.
Sometimes PT, just depends on what we're doing.
Because we've gotten away from training for cold weather environments, and now we're training specifically for hot weather, which involves a lot of training in hot weather areas here in the States.
Right.
We don't have them here.
And we'll get to all that too. Yes, sir.
And also what I think is it's been actually been an issue within the military, so that's why a lot of times things that happened in the past and they're trying to actually, come up with different things to actually take care of that.
And as you see in the introduction, from last year it was 68% from last year. So now since we had that, now we're trying to do things to actually help control and to mitigate all these hazards for heat injuries this time. Today, we as leaders, we're not checking the soldiers, ensuring that they are taking care of themselves prior to training during these high temperature months. Now, what are the high temperature months? The high temperature months is from April all the way to September. From April to September. Conduct risk assessments. We're going to communicate with soldiers to check if they have prior injuries prior to join the military. That's another reason why we have so much trouble. Okay, how do you know a soldier is a previous heat casualty? Unless you ask the question. You got to communicate. Okay, a lot of these soldiers come in the military 17, 18, 19 years old. They know they follow the lead of the parents. So now they're going away from home. There's nobody to be open and to make sure they're doing the right thing to keep them alive, even when they're doing high visible training, high intensive training that cause you to sweat, lose a lot of water. Okay, so it's our job to actually communicate, find out these guys, because they play sports, football, basketball, things of that nature, and they probably they developed a heat injury prior to coming to the military. So you got to communicate. You got to find out if they ever had heat injury before, because if you don't, they'll become a heat casualty. You got to ensure that soldiers are eating properly, getting proper nutrition to provide the body with energy to sustain the step doing the activity. Okay, so you got to eat. Okay, you got a lot of guys that are overweight, like myself. I was overweight one time when I was in Fort Benning, wasn't I? I was overweight when I was in Fort Benning. I think I was. I think I was real big. But sometimes you tend not to drink as much, not to eat as much, and that can hurt you. Okay, then you don't have the energy to help sustain you during the workday, during your workload. So you need to eat food, eat in moderation. There's nothing wrong with eating food that's maybe high in fat every once in a while, but eat in moderation. Okay, the key thing is eating food to provide your body with nutrients and also provide you with energy. Proper rest. What is the proper rest? What are the hours you're supposed to have in the military? How many hours you supposed to have? Like 6 hours?
6 to 8 hours.
6 to 8 hours. Okay, you can't function. Okay, when you're doing a PT test, what they tell you, make sure you eat something like rice, things of that nature to get your carbohydrates, and make sure you get plenty of rest. Okay, time to take it. Proper uniform for the event. Okay, I know we do a lot of road marches in some units. In Fort Benning, we did a lot of road marches. Okay, so when you're doing road marches, and it's very hot there, because a couple times you got a Category 5 when you was out there. So therefore, the training's still going to happen, but you still might need to change. Either you're going to change the uniform, or you're going to wait till a later time to actually do the road march. Okay, that's what you need to do. Make sure you got rest plans, even when you're doing the road march. Make sure the guys are taking more rest plans more than often. Commander, I know you want to push, make a timeline, but sometimes you got to make the rest plans. You got to take care of the soldiers there first. Make sure they're doing proper hydration. We've been in Iraq a couple times. You get the what you call that? The camelback. Okay, you got to make sure you hit the soldiers' back. Make sure you get water in there. Okay, because you can check the water. If you check the soldiers' back, and find out he still got water inside his bag from 30 minutes ago, he let you know he's not drinking water. Okay, you want to make sure you monitor. You want to develop controls to assess the hazard of heat. You want to monitor soldiers training during high temperature months, May through September. We already talked about that. The risk starts at 75 degrees, which is pretty low. And that's category 1. So, according to trade-off, it's at 75 degrees. Time in service. These are the guys that are new in the military between a year and a half to 2 years. These guys are actually having high casualties. Females. My wife today, she called me today, said she thought she was having heat stroke. But I had to go home and check on her. She was just heat exhausted. She's out there mowing, things of that nature. So females, you know, they're volatile to mostly to heat casualties. You want to train soldiers for current weather conditions, climatize. When you go to Iraq, Afghanistan, you go to Kuwait, they sit there and make you get climatized. Acclimate yourself to the weather you're going to be in for the next year and a half. Being a leader, you just know how to predict the category. Okay, either you're watching the news, finding out what the weather is, you got to know how to predict it. So if you know how to predict the weather for the training, you know what to do, what time you want to change, or you can make modifications to the uniform. Be aware of the location, time of day, the training to implement controls for the supervisor. You want to implement controls by supervising and evaluating. Okay, by doing that, you want to spot check soldiers that we mentioned a while ago. Make sure they have a battle buddy. Today, first time we're talking about make sure you have a battle buddy when you fall on runs. Okay, you fall out, make sure you have a battle buddy with you. You want to monitor food, have water intake. You want to check discoloration of urine. When you go inside these urines, sometimes the bathrooms, they got the discoloration chart on the walls in the bathroom. Depending on how much you color is your urine, how much water you have not taken, and then you need to start drinking water to change the coloration of your urine and show the hydration period. Spot check leaders, we also need to be spot checked too, ensuring that we know how to prevent heat casualties, knowing the current heat category we just mentioned, and the proper steps for heat injuries. You want to make sure you have supplies with ice sheets as well as water, and make sure you have medical support available for communication. To eliminate heat injuries, all these points must be met, monitored, and evaluated. This is what it takes to keep soldiers always able to train to be combat ready for any environment. So today we discussed how to identify, monitor, and control heat injuries, conducting risk assessment to identify hazards, developing controls to assess the hazards, as well as implementing controls by supervising and continuing to evaluate. So you don't have to be a leader to mitigate risk factors for the heat injuries. You can be a battle buddy or even a friend that knows the signs and symptoms of controlling heat injuries. Make sure you drink plenty of water frequently and adjust work cycles with clothing and eating proper nutrients to maintain energy. When training in high temperatures, have the necessary items for cooling the casualty with communication. This will not only keep you and your buddy alive, but those that are alive that train with you and fight along with you. That concludes my